Okay, away from the markets, on to the Delhi government's initiative to promote electric vehicles. It presented its budget yesterday and it's offered some sops to the electric vehicle manufacturers with a reduction in VAT and also, well, actually, it's a sop to buyers more than anyone else. And, you know, how do electric vehicle manufacturers expect this to play out on the ground? Find out. SohinderGill from the Society of Manufacturers of Electric Vehicles will be joining us in a couple of minutes. Now, we're very pleased to welcome SohinderGill, Director Corporate Affairs at the Society of Manufacturers of Electric Vehicles. The Delhi government has presented a budget yesterday with a green push. The value-added tax, which is the VAT, has been cut from 12.5% to 5%. Mr. Gill, straight up, what do you make of this cut?
Good news. Delhi should have a comprehensive plan to make its air cleaner for the citizens, and this is a first good step, I would say. Delhi is a capital also, it should set an example, so from that point of also, it's a good news.
There's not just the VAT cut, there's also the exemption from road tax. How important is that? Some context would be great.
Road tax is already 50% of the other vehicles in Delhi for the last 5 years. So it will have a small impact. But see, the electric vehicle need to have a comprehensive plan, as I am telling you. In that there are 3 steps. First is the direct incentives, subsidies, where the customer gets a benefit in terms of money terms. And the second is the ecosystem, where a lot more needs to be done, lot more needs to be planned. And third is the mindset change itself, which needs to be triggered perhaps by agencies, including the government and the society. Now, what I feel is the first step has been well done. There have been initiatives taken on road tax, on direct incentives. The ecosystem part is not yet there in place. And within the ecosystem, the charging infrastructure is something that unless that is there, unless there is a visibility of a lot of charging infrastructure available in the city, people will always have a range anxiety. So that's the next step Delhi government must take, and we are in close talks with the ministry there, and perhaps something will happen on that too in this year.
Okay. You know, components of the ecosystem, you said charging stations are key and you're hopeful that the Delhi government will spend more on that. But, you know, with no direct allocation in the budget, do you see a risk of this year being a wasted year?
I hope not, because the talks that we have been having are for a low-cost charging solution. I think Arvindji has a lot of money here and there to spare for good things. So even out of budget, we can see some of the examples of around 500 to 1,000 charging pillars across the city in a year time, even if it is not budgeted.
Okay, let's take stock of the market. 65,000 electric vehicles on Delhi's roads. What do you see as the latent potential?
Delhi had seen, like it's always been, during the Congress regime, there were more subsidy than it is today, and Delhi had been peaking at highest volumes across the country. And Delhi is not a right place for electric vehicles because they need high speeds and long distances. Still, we clocked the highest always in Delhi. It's only lately that Delhi has taken a dip where the VAT was increased to 12%. Some other things were not done in time. So Delhi became 7th in the country. Now with this announcement, perhaps Delhi should get pushed up to position 3, 2 or something. But I would say Delhi still is a place where, because of being capital, because of being focus area, because of the other possibilities of the government doing a lot of things in a short-term manner, we can always do a lot more than what has been done or what is being done. After charging infrastructure, suppose Delhi government announces or central government and Delhi government announces that the vehicles would be available on financing. Now that is 50% of the customer turning back from the showrooms. Those who cannot afford to pay down payments, complete 100% for the bikes or for the cars. So that's a step that can easily be done. I'm not asking for any interest reduction. I'm just saying the banks should start honoring, financing for electric vehicle, which is not there right now. So some sort of an instruction needs to be given to public sector banks at least to start accepting applications for financing of electric vehicles. So that could be the next big change.
I mean, that's definitely an important one, banks giving loans for electrical vehicles. But the mandate for that or the push has to come from the central government. So what success have you had, in your conversations with the central government on this particular issue?
I agree, but state governments always have their own ways and means of either subventing or indirectly influencing, the financing backbone of the state. So there are possibilities of even state government nudging the lieutenant governor or otherwise doing something on this, on the financing front.
Okay, I'm going to take a step back and just ask you, what are the top 3 priorities that you're pushing with the Delhi government? Because, I mean, if you had to make an exhaustive list, you'd like many things addressed. But pick the top 3, especially given that the government is thinking about this issue continuously. In the last fortnight of April, we're likely to have the odd-even scheme come into play again. So what are your top 3 priorities?
Yeah, that's the third thing. In fact, if I talk of 2-year span, if we just do these 2 things in ecosystem, which is a charging infrastructure and financing, easy availability of finance, then the last thing that is required is, what I was talking about, the mindset change, which is a very collective effort of the government in increasing awareness, education, as well as a nudge and a pat. See, today it is a pat, like subsidies, incentives or something. The nudge part or a little bit of compulsion part is missing. It came in the budget from infrastructure, cess or diesel vehicles not being registered. But there can be examples of disincentivizing very polluting vehicles in some parts of the cities like Connaught Place, Daryaganj, Kashmiri Gate or tourist spots. So that will start a small nucleus where these electric vehicles will proliferate automatically, because people will start getting used to the idea, yes, electric vehicles are an alternate which are plausible, practical. So this nudge part has to be now thought of by all the governments, all the state governments. And Delhi government has already thought of it in ways of odd and even. So I really welcome that step of odd and even and continuation of that. In fact, in the last odd and even, one of our manufacturer, Hero, they put 100 e-bikes on the road and they gave 18,000 free rides. And we had very happy customers reporting back saying that, wow, we have, first time we rode an electric vehicle. So this time when odd and even happens, perhaps there will be more manufacturers joining in. And we could find a lot of electric vehicles on the road this time. So that's a nudge that is required to be done constantly, continually, for Delhi to start getting used to a much cleaner, zero polluting means of transport, rather than all this congestion, smoke, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, everything breathing into your nose in a concentrated way when you are driving on the road every day, morning and evening.
Sure, we understand that, sir. As residents of Delhi, I want to talk about the costing of electrical vehicles, because competitive costing could spur demand. What is the industry doing in terms of technology advancements, to bring the cost down and stimulate demand?
The volumes are coming in the way of the cost reduction. So the first step is somehow put that 1 million vehicles somewhere on the roads. As soon as you have a mass there created for some few lakh vehicles on the road, the volumes really drive the price down to very much affordable limits. So what's being subsidized from the government pockets, why should it be subsidized for long? Instead, if we have it, like that's why I was telling about a comprehensive plan. If we take all the steps together of ecosystem, mindset change, awareness, education and nudge, and the direct incentive in a concentrated manner over 3 years period, these volumes will surely come. And once you have that 1 million mark on the road, you don't need any of these things. They can be tapered off. People will get used to the benefits, usefulness, and also the societal benefits of the electric vehicles. Today, a guy is individually seeing his own benefit of economy. He is not seeing ecology as a benefit. But if you have a large mass, we will find obviously that people will get used to the other person saying why he is using a polluting vehicle when he has an alternate. So the objective should be to put that 1 million somehow, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers on the road, somehow. And for that, anything needs to be done on financing, on education, on ecosystem, charging infrastructure, direct incentives, needs to be done in a concentrated way, not budget to budget, not year on year, not slowly step by step, let's see the impact, let's do that. These will get diluted over a period of time.
Well, all the best as you, push the USP and the importance of electric vehicles. Mr. Gill, thank you very much for joining us on NDTV Profit today. It's a wrap on the show.